UnrealTek again. Today I figured let's do some more GUI stuff and see if we can't get the lobby prototype finished up, since we will be using it pre, post, and possibly mid-game to select teams and character classes. I've uploaded the project up to episode 11 to unrealtek.net in the download section. Just add a starter content folder to its content folder. So if you need it, download it. Remember, create your way, and let's get to it. So what we had was we had the ability to select our team and then hit start, which we had it set up so we could just open this up with a button. So let's continue working on it. I want to continue with select your team. I want to add select your class. Let's take this spacer and knock it down to the same as the game lobby size, or maybe a bit more, 24 pixels. And let's bring this a little bit closer. Let's bring that down to 32. And the spacing between, oh, we have two spacers. Interesting. Okay, let's just move one over then. Perfect. Oops, undo that. I want to throw the classes in here. So let's in this horizontal box here, we should call this something like horizontal box. Let's call it horizontal box teams classes, just so that we know what it is. So anyways, let's add another text component to it. Let's move it over here, and oh, we got a big spacer in there. Let's or a big spacer. Let's move that over. Let's set that to like 64 for right now. Let's take this text block, and I should set these to vertically aligned center. They're not centering. All right, there we go. This one will be select your class. And we'll just do that for mid-game. When you're actually hosting a game, maybe we will make a character selection screen. How we actually fit it into the game, I haven't fully decided yet, but it'll make for some interesting development. So select your class. Then we're gonna want a short spacer. So yeah, we'll just we'll duplicate this one, copy and paste. And that totally didn't copy, so we'll paste that again. Okay, we'll just copy it by hand then. Or I am being dumb. Yes, I am. I'm totally adding spacers. So we'll delete those extra ones. I haven't done my coffee yet. So select your class. We want a short spacer, 32 pixels, maybe not even, like 16. Oh, we need one over there too. I'm just screwing up the spacers here. Let's find our spacer. Let's throw one in between select your team and the spin box. Let's give that an X value of 16. And select your class. Let's throw text in between, or spin box in between there as well. And let's give it a value of 0 and minimum, maximum, or minimum, maximum. We're gonna want a minimum value of 0, a maximum value of, well, a minimum, yeah, you know what, we should probably do a minimum value of 1, set the value to 1, maximum value of 4. And a minimum slider value of 1 to 4. So that'll represent the 4 classes, and the delta we want to be 1. Alright, so we'll do that as well, and we will add another image just like we did for the classes right after it, and then we'll just put a spacer between them. And we'll give that spacer something like 8 pixels, 16. What do we use for the other one? 32 or 16? 32. So with 32, and then we'll set this one to 96. Will look all right for now. I want to set this one a bit higher too. Let's set that to 64. Let's set this to 128. I like powers. Image. Let's give it a default brush image of the UE4 logo card. Not sized to its stock size. We want 32 by 32. It gets squished a little bit, doesn't it? Vertically centered. That's what's going on there. This all needs to be vertically centered. That's why it's all looking funny. Weird. That's because of the scale box. It'll probably fix itself later. There we go. Alright, so we want to bind this brush. So let's create a binding. We got get team image. So let's do get car class image. And so what we want to do is basically the same as team image. It's just going to be a little bit more complex. So we're going to need to do we can probably make a slate brush and return based on we could make an array, I guess. Yeah, maybe we should make an array. Let's do that. Let's make a variable. Let's call this car class image array, or just image. Let's set this to a texture 2D reference and an array. Let's compile. I gotta remember to use F7 more often. 1, 2, 3, 4 elements. So we want assault. We want demolition. We want, well, let's keep these in the order we were going. Medic. Then what did we do? Sniper and then demo, I think. So like so. So let's drag in our array, and we will do, we'll also drag in our spinbox car class. We will get value, and then we want to truncate to give us an integer. And then we want to do an array get. Actually, we're gonna have to, that won't work. Well, 1 to 4, no, we're gonna have to -1 from this. So yeah, just take the return value minus integer, just -1 and plug it into that. And then we want to take the return node and make a slate brush and just plug that right into the image, like so. So let's see if that works. I think we bound that to the L key. So let's make sure we're playing with one player. Play L key. You can just barely see. We're gonna make it a little bit bigger. So we got our team switching. Class is 1, 2. Oh, it's really quick. 2. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome 3 is medic as well. We're gonna have to fix that math. Unless I screwed up the, unless I screwed this up. Salt logo, medic icon, nope. Get value of 1, or get value, yeah, get value of 1. Truncated will give you 1, -1 will give you 0, value of 2. Truncated will give you 2. -1 will give you 1. This should work. Kind of odd. Well, let's do a range clamped. In range A is, I guess we could leave it and just do that instead. Instead of going from 0 or from 1 to 4, we can just go from 0 to 3. And not worry about that later. So 0 in range B. We don't even need to clamp it, so we should just be able to tie that right in. See if that works. L for lobby. 1 or 0, 1. 1 is not updating. That's the problem. It is once you've done it a couple times, or it is. It is once that values actually change. So we need, because you can set value. Value. You can set the value. I think there's also what I'm looking for. Probably want to do that. Bind event to on value changed. Yeah, I don't like spin boxes. Let's try on value change. Let's do that. The end value, we can't really create a local variable, so let's just go car class value from spinbox. Let's make that a float non-array obviously, and let's set that. Let's try using it from there. I don't use spin boxes often. They are useful though. And then we just want to change that function to instead use that value. So when it's changed, it should update. Let's find out. So alpha lobby, so 0, 1, 2, 3. So demo, sniper, medic, assault. Now did that, I didn't catch if that gave us our default image or assault. Okay, gives you assault, perfect. Yeah, I like that, that works better. Okay, cool, so that'll work. Let's go back to designing the rest of this. We got our timer, we got to set up our game mode now works. Sort of, we should fix that. Get game mode display text, because we changed that. We went into the blueprints and we added it to the game state, I believe, under server data, the map's name and the game mode's real name. So we should probably get that information. So let's do a get game state. Not instance, get game state. Let's leave this for now just because it is handy for debugging sometimes. Get game state, cast to game state, promote to pure cast, or cast, or convert to pure cast. Get game mode's real name, replicated, and converting a string, a text to a string to a string to a text to a text. Or I don't even know what to say. That should plug right in. Perfect. Alright, compile, save, and we can add our map name in somewhere. So we're gonna want to set up our map voting somewhere in here. I'm thinking of doing the teams on one half and the map voting on the other. So what should we do first? We've got quite a bit going in this vertical box, so, and this one should just be called horizontal box header or title bar, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call this vertical box top maybe or main, whatever you want to call it. Let's add another one just to keep things organized a little bit. We can modularize it after two, which I prefer to do, but you know, keep things on a timely manner, right? That can only accept one. So we're gonna want a canvas panel as I originally tried, and now we're gonna have a problem trying. See if we can wrap this with a canvas panel. Yeah, that's just gonna cause issues, isn't it? Well, we can try that, I guess. I don't like it, but it seems to work. And let's anchor it to yeah, it'll work for right now. I'm not too worried about it. So we have that canvas panel with this vertical box. So let's add another vertical box into the canvas panel. And you know what? That is totally gonna have to be manually size set. So let's add another vertical box and let's add both of them into there. like so. Let's see if this works. I want to take this, I want to size the content. There we go, that's what I'm looking for. Alright, so this is vertical box container. Vertical box top, this will be vertical box. We'll just say teams. Teams and teams underscore map out. Alright, so let's start with and actually I just had one idea. Game lobby, let's create a binding for that. Create binding called get server name for lobby title text. And so let's just go back to our game mode display text. Let's copy this, the game state cast. Let's paste it in there, and let's get server's name, and then let's build a string. Build. Oh, I can't. I should be able to do that. Build string. I guess not. Of a name. That'll work. In name, oh come on, I guess not. So we'll just convert this to string. Then we can't build a string off a string. We could build a name off a name now, but maybe we'll just use the append. So let's append. So we'll take the server name and then a space, or let's go apostrophe S is lobby. So whoever server lobby. Good enough for me. Good enough for the girls I go with, as I used to say. And we'll call this handles setting the lobby title to the server's name with appended. Kind of hard to read, but that'll work. Compile, F7, come on, save, back to the designer. Alright, so I just thought of that, and just so that we know that's a placeholder, let's do that. Just go someone's server's lobby. There we go, I like that. Let's cut this size down from 512 to 256. That will keep the size up, even 128 maybe. Yeah, let's go 128 there, and let's cut these ones down to 32. There, that's like an equal space between them. We might even want to copy that over after, but it'll work for now. So let's go back to our teams and map vote, and let's add a, I guess we should start with a horizontal box, and let's call this horizontal box, we'll just go titles maybe. Come on, horizontal box titles, add caps on. And in there, let's add a text with a spacer before it. I'm gonna close panels for now. And user created spacer. Before it in the horizontal box, let's set its X value to, what do we set the other one to? 24. Set this one, let's see, what does 24 look like? I think there should be space between those. Let's throw a spacer in between those two vertical boxes. Yeah. Vertical box top, spacer. Let's give it a Y value of like 4, 8, 16. Let's go 16. So text block. Let's actually set that spacer from 24 to 32. So we'll call this teams. So this will list who's on what team. Yeah. And then let's add a spacer, a huge one, into our horizontal box. Let's give it an X value of like 768. Perfect. Maybe even bigger, but we'll see. Let's add another text box, or another text, sorry. And let's call this map voting. That'll work. We could even fill that almost. Let's do that. Let's add a spacer to the end of that horizontal box with an X value of, let's go 64, and then let's set this spacer just to fill. I like it. Alright, so should probably be adding some borders in here to separate this too, but that's okay. We can work with that later. So we got for the titles. Now let's add another, so let's add a spacer first. Whoops, not into there. Into the vertical box, teams map vote. Let's give it a Y value of 8. The other one was 16. And let's add two, actually, you know what we could use is, we want to use a scroll box actually for the team data, because that'll make it much easier. So let's add that to the vertical box. However, we want it to be split. So let's add a horizontal box into the vertical box. Add the scroll box into it. Awesome. Let's set it to fill, and let's also add, we can probably just work with a vertical box. Let's add a vertical box in there and set that to fill. And so this is going to be vertical box map voting. And this is going to be scroll box team listing. And those, we're gonna need to use size boxes to fill them out. So let's wrap each of these with a size box. So scroll box team listing, we in its size box we want a height override. Set it to something like, I don't know, something like maybe, yeah, let's go 512. And the width we'll leave for now. And that, I guess we don't really need the size box for the other one, but for good measure, I guess we may as well leave it. Give it a height override of 512 as well. We could adjust that later if we want to throw like a map image in there. And let's separate them with spacer. So let's put a spacer in between the two of them, just like so. Let's give that an X value of, say, 128. That'll separate them nicely. We could almost line it up here, actually. So I like that setup for now. And oh, we need to put our chat box in somewhere too. So let's go to our user created. I thought I added that in. Yeah, widget chat main. It's down there just chilling. There's another canvas panel up there. I should have got rid of that. Shoot, that's what's screwing things up. For now, let's just throw it on the other canvas panel. I wish I could delete this without, I guarantee if let's compile and save first. I guarantee if I cut this, delete the canvas panel, and put an overlay or something, I guarantee that's not going to work. Although, I guess I can be surprised from time to time. Alright, I'm liking that. That looks a lot better. Our border is not quite filling. There we go. There we go, perfect. Never mind I said that. Just got padding, I guess. Let's set padding to 0, 0, 0, 0. Alright. So yeah, the chat box, let's fix that somehow. So we got our vertical box. We don't want our chat to overlap with our map voting. Chat feels more normal in the right corner. Or maybe in the center. Yeah, let's just leave it as just a sized widget on the canvas panel for now. So let's set its anchor to the bottom corner, and let's set its pivot to x0 and y 0.5. Oh, maybe not. Let's see here, 0, 0. Yeah, so y 0.5, that's not doing anything. Alignment 0.5, 1 and 0.5, like so. And then let's size it. Let's give it a width of 512, and I think we even set our original height to 256, so that almost works out. Cool. And the other ones, I'm not going to worry about anchoring for right now. They'll be fine, or the vertical box top container, I'm sure it'll work out fine the way it is. So we'll compile and save that. What can we do next, quick, to knock out some good information? And what we can do is we can get rid of this ugly start button. Let's do that. And that'll be fine. I want to make this a little bit bigger almost though, at least the images at the very least. Let's make them 64 by 64. Set that to 64 by 64, and these can be sized too, I think. If you set the font to, no. I think you gotta put them in a size box. Yeah. Oh well, we'll work with it for now until we come up with a better solution. So I'm thinking we should, let's create a reusable button setup. Compile, save. Let's go to our widgets UI. Let's create a new folder called just parents. Set this to green. Let's create a new user interface widget. I'm gonna call this widget underscore button. I'm gonna call it modular button, procedural button, something like that. Let's delete the canvas panel, and since buttons are used horizontal, let's add a horizontal box. Let's go to the graph and let's add a variable called we want background color, which will be a linear color. Tooltip, this is the color of the button's background, or we should say of the bars. And make that editable, because we want these to, when we put them in the other widgets, we want to be able to change these. Let's give it a default value, F7 of, we're using like kind of a blue-gray, so let's go somewhere in the blue-gray range. That'll work, something like that. Let's add a new variable called buttons, and this will be, I guess we could use text array, so we don't need to cast, and we want, so this will be for every button. We're gonna want that to be editable. If we're spawning them, yeah, we'll see. This is the names of all the buttons that will be added. Simple enough. And it doesn't need any default values. It'll just have no buttons. It'll just be a bar by stock. And then we want a third variable called buttons index, which will be an integer, which is not an array. It won't be editable, and its tooltip will be the index of the button. Buttons. And so what we want to do is we'll go on event construct. Come on, there we go, on event construct. So when it's created, we want to make up our buttons. So we'll do a for each loop. Oh, I should just use the F button. For each loop, our array is going to be our buttons. Our array of buttons. And for each of them, actually we're going to need one more. We're going to need modular button and user interface widget blueprint w underscore modular button child. And in there, let's delete the canvas panel and let's add a button. And let's go to the graph and let's give it a variable called buttons text, and we'll set that to text, and we want that to be exposed on spawn and editable. And we also want button index, which will be an integer. And we want it to be transient, zero filled, because we will be setting that through inheritance. And we need some event dispatchers. We want on button clicked, and the inputs will be an integer of button index clicked. And then let's go to the designer, let's select our button, let's go on clicked. We will call that event dispatcher. And the button index clicked will be button index. Whoops. Good enough for now. Let's go back to our modular button. Let's add that as a class. Let's go button class, and let's set that to widget underscore modular button child reference, since we'll be at, or sorry, we need that to be a class because we'll be creating a widget modular button child class, like so. And let's compile that, and we need to set that to itself. Perfect. So now we're gonna make that editable too. So now what we can do is we can take a loop body and we can create widget of class button class. And for replication, we want our owning player to be get owning player, and the button text will be the array element. Then we want to add it to our horizontal box here. So this creates a button for each index in buttons. So then, yeah, we want to add them. So we want to take we need to go to our designer, select our horizontal box, make sure it's a variable. We want to select it as a getter, and we want to add child to horizontal box, or panel widget will work. That'll be its target. The return value will go into the content. Bring it over like that. And then we want to take the return value and we want to cast to horizontal box slot. Let's that can be peer actually, and we can take it and set size. This will allow them to be spaced evenly, and to do that we take insize and we want to make slate child size with size rule fill of 1. So just doing what we do manually, but this allows it to be very modular and we can reuse it. So add button evenly spaced to our pores box. Put that up there maybe. Mess over. I would save so much time if I didn't nitpick about my nodes. We would have such shorter tutorials. Anyways, let's reroute this so that we can set its color and such over to there. We're gonna want to create another event dispatcher called on button clicked, and this one will also have an index integer button child index. And what we want to do is create a custom event called on modular button bar press clicked, and give it an input of an integer called button child index, as you might have guessed, and then we want to call our event dispatcher in here, so that way anything that's listening will know that a button was clicked. And what we can do is, using our modular child button, we can bind event to on button clicked, make sure it works all the way through and through, and take the event and create event, and select function on modular bar clicked, object self, compile that. And so after we've set the size, we've bound our box, we need to set our color. So let's reroute this. So what we want to do is we want to get button and we want to set background color to background color. Let's see how that works. Compile, save. Let's go to our lobby and let's add it in down here. So I'm gonna go and select where are you? Modular button. I'm gonna put it in here, and let's see if that works. I want to. So we have our background color, class, and buttons editable. So let's add 2 buttons. One called let's go. One called cancel. Let's see if it works. Compile, save, and play. Lobby. I created them. I forgot it said text. And they are clickable. I like that that's reusable. That's awesome. So we forgot to set our text. Is what we did. So buttons text create. Oh, so we just have to go to the designer for it, and we need to add some text to it, and text block to bind to buttons text, and we want it to fill center, and we want the size to be as big as it needs to be. Is that gonna work? That should work. If it's what's the stock size? 24, let's go 240, something like that. Shadow offset 5 and 5, I don't know, see what happens. And so yeah, that should work. Compile, save, let's try that. Play, lobby. Hey, there we go. So we just need to set that size, leave it at 24. So compile, save, play, lobby. I like that. Totally modular buttons. Cool. Our chat box is not up here. Oh, it's there. Okay. We need to focus it is all. So we can go here and default is visible. Yes. Compile, save, play, lobby, and our chat box is visible. Hey, let's play this map. Yeah, it'll kind of work. It'll work for now. 263 servers lobby, prototyping game mode. Prototyping game mode. Is that what I called it? No. Oh, that's what its actual name is, right. And lobby timer. Do we really need to set that up right now? I don't think so. We could. It is functionality that's nice. We got time, so let's go to our lobby. Let's select lobby timer. Let's create a binding for it called something like get lobby timer text. And in here, let's just knock this node right off. We'll return it after. We got some stuff to do. Let's get our game state because a game will be going, so we want it from our game state, not player controller. Game, not game instance, not game mode, game state. And let's cast and convert. And let's see, have I created that variable? Get time remaining, and that's replicated so everyone will be able to know. And then we want to get seconds and minutes. So to get seconds, let's divide by, not by vector. Let's divide an integer by an integer, 60. And to get the minutes, we want to do a modulo, so that's the percent sign, and let's mod by 60, or sorry, that's minutes and then seconds. So let's take our return value and let's build a string. So we can, we might be able to actually use the build string. So append to int, and I don't know if it's needed, but and then we just need to combine these. So we want to do an append, append that, and then a space, a colon, a space, and then that, and then return. I think that'll work. But then we might get funny. We'll see what happens. Compile, save. Is it? Well, it's not going to work right now. It's just going to give us the time remaining. No, that's not going to work at all. I don't even think we're calling that time down yet, to be honest. Let's do it this way. Let's go to text int, because we want, we don't want to group that, and to text, we don't want to group that, and we want it to only have 2 maximum digits, so like from 00 to 60, so 2. And then we can to string append, whoops, append A to B. Compile, save, play, lobby. Oh yeah, we're not counting. We don't have the counting down going yet. Okay, good to know that we don't have that functionality yet. But good to know that it's pulling those values perfectly fine. I want to test that. I want to test all this replication too. But let's add a space colon space. F7 to compile. Save. All right, let's play with 2 players. So I'm gonna grab the client and see if that's all replicating. Okay, so yes, 266 servers lobby. Oh yeah, we're still printing those. Prototyping game mode. 3 minutes left in the game, even though we're not counting down. We got our team colors. We got our classes. It's still hard to use. I want to scale it up. We'll have our map voting. We'll have our teams. And then we'll have we're ready and cancel. And then we have our chat. Hey. And of course, chat's still working. Lobby. Totally cool. I like it. I forgot to. Let's go widget lobby design graph. Let's go to the event graph. Let's go on button. We want to, oh, you know what, this isn't a, we need to modular button, get bind event to on button clicked, and that event will be create custom event, add custom event called button pressed. I got no rhyme or rhythm to this. So the button child index, if it is equal to 1, which will be the second button, which is cancel, we go to a branch, which then remove from parent. Right now we'll just close it. So let's go event tick. Like so, compile, save, and 1 player, play, and L for lobby, and cancel. We'll need to work on that button. Oh, I had 2 chat boxes, so yeah, we definitely don't want the lobby going in the middle of the game, that's for sure. I just want to check this too. What if it's equal to 0? Compile, save. I want to go if false. I want to print string too. Not spawn actor. I want to print string. Compile, save, play, lobby. Let's go. Oh, that closes it. So it's just -1. I just screwed that up. Is all. So cancel, do nothing. Oh, they're both. Let's. Whoa, I totally just went across both my monitors. Alright, just had to restart there. Now we got it fixed. So let's set up a pretty important one for our lobby. Let's go in our lobby. Let's select the overlay here and the visibility. Let's bind, create binding. Let's call it get lobby visibility instead of get visibility 0. Alright, I think I spelled visibility wrong too. So, this will be a sizable, not too bad though, little setup, and we're going to output return value we need a local variable called L underscore visibility, which is going to be an E slate visibility. And by default, we want it to be hidden. Let's compile, save. So what we want to do is a sequence. As usual, when we're doing this kind of setup, we do our stuff and then we return the local variable, like so. So to the actual logic, that doesn't line up. So we want to get game mode. I'll hit the right button for once almost. And, we want to get game state, and we want to do an in-peer cast. Let's see, can we fit this in here nicely? I bet you we can. And then remember we set up those functions, or did we yet? Is in game. Let's see. We got team game. We got time remaining. We got player state. Post. Maybe we didn't set it up. Let's see. Compile, save. Let's go to our game state. Blueprints. Game state. Ooh, we did not set that up. We set the gameplay state variable, and we checked. I thought we checked if stuff was in. What's in post switch? Oh, we set that up. Maybe did we do that in the game mode accidentally? Where's our game mode? Nope. Okay, maybe I'm just totally confusing things. So what we want to do then is we want to create two functions in our game state. So let's create a function called is game state pregame. And we could set up a macro like in the original Steam setup, but we can use this for a lot more reasons because we're going to go peer and constant. We can just call it instead of only having one place that we can check states, which is in the game state. So all we need to do is get our gameplay state, which is replicated, of course, and check if it's equal to pregame. And if it is, branch. Actually, if it is, we can just add return node with an output called B is in pregame state. And then let's duplicate that and is game state post game. Open that up and just change it to post game, and we'll just change this to is post. So let's compile and save that and go back to our lobby. So we want to find out if it's in either of those. So is in pregame state. What do we is game state post game? Is game state pre-game? If either of those are true, then we want to show the lobby. It's automatic. Almost. So let's do a select. False and true. And our return value is going to be our visibility, our local variable. We'll set that from the cast. And false will be hidden, true will be visible. So if it's in either of those, we'll see. Otherwise, we'll see it. Otherwise, it'll be hidden. And if visibility is actually, yeah, we want to store our visibility. So let's create a regular variable called stored widget visibility. So just tooltip is what current visibility does this widget have? And what am I trying to think here? Compile, save. By default, it'll be hidden. So we want to set that. Then we want to check it. If this is not equal enum to what we have stored, then we want to store that value. So that'll go into a branch, and then we will so if it's not equal true, then we want to store our visibility to what we've just decided on. And then we want to check if our stored visibility is equal to visible branch. If so, we want to get owning player. This returns a controller. And we want to set input mode UI only. True. Target in widget focus will be self. And we also want to show mouse cursor. So that gets rid of that problem too, because remember I forgot to set up to enable it. So set the show mouse cursor true. If false, however, we want to set input mode game only. The target being the same owning player, and we also want to hide the mouse cursor. Hides the mouse cursor. Set that to false. Alright, compile and save. Make sure that's bound. Perfect. So that'll come in more when we get further into the game. Now that button thing really had me interested, although it's not going to show up now unless we set, I guess we can't because it's in the game state now. Let's just clear this binding for now. Compile, save, and play. I could do this from somewhere else, but both that and that are calling the function where we bound it to if it's equal to 0, it removes from parent. I'll try -1. I want to just print out messages actually. If true, print out a message. Says button pressed -1, button pressed true, button pressed false. Compile, save, play, lobby. Button pressed false, false. They're both false. That's very interesting. -1. Well, okay, that makes sense. So then let's try 0. Compile, save, play, lobby, button, press true. True, see they're both true. That's so weird. 1, compile, play, lobby, false. False, 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 false. They're both false. So for some reason, it's not picking up the right index. So I think what I need to do is go into the button child and take buttons index, and let's make that editable and expose on spawn. Compile and button index goes into button index clicked, compile, save, design, back to modular button. Then let's go button index into array index. Let's try that. Compile, save. So right now we're checking for 1, which should be the second one. So play, lobby, true, false, true, false. There we go, I like that, perfect. So now it's working. So what we want to do is in our lobby, if it's equal to 1, which is cancel, then we want to execute console command disconnect to get owning player. If false, we check. It's just kind of prototyped. If integer equals, if this is equal to 0, which is the other button. If true, then we'll just leave it. For now, we'll just leave a little thing saying lobby stuff goes here for starting game. Alright, compile and save. And let's go back and set the visibility back to get lobby visibility, compile and save. Let's knock one more function out quick. Let's go to our teams and let's go to our BP teams data. Let's create a function called add a kill so we can track team kills. So we want to know first of all though, was kill friendly fire. We could just go FF, I guess. But anyways, branch into that. If true, we don't want to add the kill, but if false, we want to set kills, which is replicated, to itself plus 1. I wonder if you can increment. So increment int. Kind of want to try that because I like the node. I just don't know how well it works with replication. I know it can be touchy too. Give it a try though. Compile and save. While we're at it, let's get some of the map voting stuff just quickly set up. Let's go to our game modes, BP game mode. Let's add a function called get map voting ready. And what we'll want to do is we want to get class of self, and then we want to cast to ourself as a peer cast, and we want to get game instance. I can probably hit the right one. No. Get game instance, and we want to cast to game instance, peer, both of them, and in our game instance, compile, save. Let's open up our game instance under blueprints, BP game instance, and let's go back to our editor quick. We need a structure for the map, so let's create a blueprint structure s underscore map data, just like our teams. So we're just adding all this stuff in, and eventually it'll all come together beautifully. So we need map display name. We need a string, which will be the actual, you could call it content location. We want a textured 2D. This will be a map image. we want an array of our game mode, BP game mode class, and we want an array of that called game modes supported by map. That's kind of long, just go game mode supported. And we also need an integer, obviously, for number of votes. And save them. None of them need default values because that will be set up during a map vote. So in our BP game instance, we need to create a function called get maps for game mode. So this will tell us every for a game mode class, every single map that supports it that we have added. So just like we have defined classes and we have our teams in the game state, and I think we moved our classes, but we do want our maps here. We want our maps to be persistent. So we want defined maps, and this will be an array of what we just created. So array of s underscore map data. Yeah, and let's make it editable. And so in here, what we want to do, first of all, we want it to be pure and constant so that we can call it from without an execution pin. And it needs an input called game mode class to check, which will be BP game mode. Whoops. Reference. Oh, sorry, the class. Come on, what's going on here? Game mode class. And then we need an output, which will be the structure we just created, map data, and it'll be an array of that. And this will be maps supported. So just like we did before, let's create a sequence and we'll do our logic. Actually, we don't need to because we're just going to do a for each loop. But let's create our local variable. So that'll be local variable. This will be maps and it doesn't need any default values, and it'll be the structure map value array, obviously. So just connect that up to the return node. Come on. Okay, what's going on here? Oh, I didn't make that an array. My bad. There we go, and that'll be once the loop is completed. So what we want to do is, let's reroute game mode to check up and above, like so, and over. Bring it like so. What we want to do is we want to take the array element, which is going to be our defined maps, which themselves, or that variable itself, should also go into our config category. And so what we want to do is we want to break this. And we want to check if supported game modes, we want to do a find, and we want to find that game mode. And if it is greater than or equal to 0, so basically it checks to see if the game mode we're checking for is supported, and if it is, Then we'll go into a branch. And by the way, we should probably, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, define maps. Let's compile. Let's add at least one, which will be our third person example map. Let's just call it our testing 3P map. The content location will be slash template map slash third person example map. The image, we don't really have an image. What could we use in its place? Don't really have any third person related images. Let's just use the UE4 logo, I guess. And supported game modes will be BP game mode. Number of votes doesn't matter. So compile and save, and once we get more game modes, then we'll be able to add more, obviously. So if it's greater than or equal to 0, then all we simply do is we take that same array element, let's reroute it up and over like that, and we want to add if true, and we want to add to output of our maps, which goes into our completed return node, like so. So compile and save that in our game instance. Let's go back to our game mode quickly. And so as game instance, we want to support get maps for game mode. Game mode class to check is this one, and the maps out will be set to, we need a local variable which will be called maps being voted for, no, whatever, good enough, and that'll be structure map data array. That should not have a default value, so let's delete that, compile and save. That's basically setting it to transient, because you can't do that to an array. Let's set that, and I forgot my naming convention, L underscore. I'm just messing with the keyboard today. Set that. Then we'll want to do a shuffle. Now I'd like to use like a Fisher-Yates shuffle algorithm, but that'll work. And then we want to reroute, and we want to go like so. We want to resize to number of game modes. So I'm going to promote to a variable called number of game modes. I'm going to use a tooltip called set this when, or add one to this when adding a new game mode. And let's compile, and let's give it a default value of 1. Then we want to output we want to take this and we want to set, we want to get our game state. I hit the right one this time, except I'm on the wrong set. We want to get our game state, cast, convert to peer cast, and then we need to create, because I don't think we added it yet, map. No, so let's go to our game state quick, and let's add a variable that will be replicated called something like map voting data, which will be an array of s underscore map data, and we want it to be replicated, and we want to have compile save, yeah, no default So go back to our game mode. So now we can set map voting data to this array. So the maps are persistent across the game instance, but the map voting, the maps that we're voting on are only persistent to each game state, or each match essentially, or each hosting, depending on how we set it up or how it's played. So let's compile and save that. Oh, make sure that we had that. No, right, we don't need to return anything. All right, cool. We also in our lobby have, well, we have that button, if we select our button there, called Let's Go. Where is it? Buttons, let's go, you know. So once you voted and selected your class and your team, you want to say, all right, let's get this game started. So what we need to do is, that'll be on the player state. Let's quickly open our player state. Oops, not game state, our player state. And so we want to set a variable that's replicated that says, hey everybody, you know, I'm ready to play the game. So once you're all ready, let's get going. So that is simply done by just adding a variable called B is player ready to go, or B is ready to go, and that will be a Boolean obviously, and it will be replicated and default false. So we can just compile and save. Let's go back to our game mode. And so we want to be able to know when all players are ready in the lobby. So let's create a function called players ready status change handler. So we want to get our game state, right one. All right, there we go, cool. I want to cast to it as a peer cast. Then we want to get player array. Again, that's just a default value. So we want to get every single player out there. And we want to do a for each loop with break. And how this is going to work, and also we need a local variable called B all players ready to go, which will be just a Boolean. Default true though. And once it's completed, we go to a branch which has that condition, which then sets what do we have? Sets match time. Or is it match time left? Yeah, match time left. Set match time left to itself. What do we have? It's set to 900. Then do a minimum node. Where are you? You know, float. Whatever's the lowest. We set it up for a 3-second countdown, I think. So if whatever's less, either match time left or 3 seconds, and then we set match time left. So when all players are ready, then it sets the match time to 3 seconds, and 3, 2, 1, go, and then the game starts. So our array element, obviously it's a player array, so we want to cast to BP player state imp here. And We also want to work if the cast fails. Remember, this stuff can take time with networking. The cast fail should be right. Sorry. We want to get B is ready to go. And go into a branch and plug that in. If false, then set this local variable here, set it to false. Also, if the cast fails, set it to false. And I want to rename this L underscore. And then we can simply break out of the loop. So it basically continues to do that until all players have set their player state to ready to go, in which case the local variable B all players are ready to go is set to true, and then we can work off of that. Pretty nifty. Alright, cool. Like so. Compile and save. We should be probably we should probably be, let's see, assigning these two. This should be under, what do we have so far? This should be under matches, game matches. Respawn player, what should we put that under? That should just be under game. Or we have spawn already, so we should put that under spawn. Send out kill notification. That should just be under game. And add kill. That should be under game as well, which, by the way, needs to be much more advanced now that we have the friendly fire option. So, and the fact that we can take a player state and, do we set that up yet? No, we didn't set up the ability to increment kills yet. Only for a team, the much easier way. So this is incomplete. But I'm not going to go through that one today because that's huge. That's a lot of work involved. Just thinking if there's any other useful ones to knock out here. We're getting pretty long, but I'm realizing that we're going to need a lot. Now our game time wasn't updating. Every 1 second, set with notify, match time left. And then in our lobby, we get lobby timer text, get PP game state, time remaining. Update time remaining. Time remaining. Sets with that is it not replicating. Oh, right, I can't bring it up right now without clearing that. Or does it just not update is all? I can't close it now either without, oh, that works. It just disconnects. Interesting. Oh, we'll have to work on that. You know, I'm gonna leave it there, I think, and we'll work on some more stuff next time. So, yeah. Let me know if there's anything you guys specifically want to see next time, but I think maybe we'll work on kills and deaths and just continuing to knock out functions to create this core game, and then getting our classes and teams to fit in and work properly with a nice, good shooter. We still need to create weapons and vehicles and so much to it, but I'm enjoying this series so far. So thanks for watching from the team here at UnrealTek.net, a division of BlenderTek.com. If you enjoyed this video and learned something, please like it, subscribe. We also take donations. We're on social media, as you can see. If you dislike the video, let us know. So we'll see you next time. Remember, create your way.